course is called Managerial Economics, DSME 404. This is an advanced level microeconomics course for business school. It aims to train students to apply the knowledge that they learn from the class to apply it to whatever kind of business or managerial problems. Specifically, I want to achieve three different things in this particular experiment. I guess the first thing, which is the most important thing, is to bring the knowledge or bring the lesson alive. Well, when students are learning this kind of stuff from the business school, of course, what we really want them to do is to apply this in real business situations. So this is one of the major reasons why I'm using this strategy. Through this kind of strategy, we hope to help students to learn the knowledge by experiencing. And of course, at the same time, it also helps students to understand more about the theory, about the model. The basic idea, I guess, is quite straightforward. So just like an ordinary setting of flipped classroom, students will learn individually before coming to the class. They learn from the videos or whatever kind of resources that I provide them. And actually, we have produced 4 different teaching animations to walk through students with the models and mathematical computations, so on and so forth. So when students finish this part of learning, when they come to the class, of course, it's time for them to apply the knowledge. In this particular strategy, we designed an interactive classroom game for students. So when students come to the class, they join the game, they form a team, and the team will be playing the managerial role of a firm, and these firms are actually competing in the market. So as the management, they have to formulate whatever kind of strategy so that the firms can actually compete in the market. And then after they get this kind of game experience, there are 2 things to follow up. The first one is a debriefing section. I think the debriefing section is actually very, very important. After the game, I usually spend around 20 minutes to do the debriefing with students. And in this debriefing section, I ask students quite a number of different questions so that they know how to reflect on their learning experience. After that, I actually ask them to write a reflective essay on this learning experience as well, so that they have a chance to consolidate everything. The results turn out to be quite encouraging, by the way. Students actually like this approach quite much. The several things that I want to highlight here is 1, on average, students have shown that they like flipped classroom more after the game. So they like it more. Okay, I think this is important. And the second thing I want to mention here is that the self-perceived capabilities of students again actually increases after the game. And finally, in general, their satisfaction on this approach is quite positive as well. One student said that, it makes me realize that the real decision-making process is much more complicated than the textbook situation. I think this is important because this is basically the objective of the game. For traditional lectures, it's relatively easy. Especially if you are teaching the same course for a number of years already. So this is extremely easy for you to prepare for the lecture. But when it comes to this kind of flipped classroom strategy, you really have to design the stuff. So from the pre-class stage, you have to prepare some kind of resources for students to do their self-learning. And then more importantly, in the in-class time, you have to really design the activities so that you can achieve whatever kind of objective that you want to do. At the same time, I think that this strategy may not be really suitable for all the topics, and that is also the reason why I do not flip in the whole semester. When you are talking about some very complicated topics that the students cannot really learn on their own, even with the aid of the teaching animation or the videos, then students will have lots of difficulty going through this kind of self-learning stage. And then, of course, when they come to the class, they cannot really perform very well. We usually think that flipped classroom is very nice, for weak students. But the problem is not every students who are weak are motivated. So in a previous research that I have done, what we find out here is that this kind of relatively weak students are also the students who lack motivation. So if they find it difficult to understand what is going on in the teaching animation or the video, they simply will not be motivated to watch the video again. So I think this is something that teachers have to pay a little bit more attention to. I'm really proud of, combining this classroom game with the flipped classroom in the sense that I can help my students learn by experiencing. There is one quote, the quote goes like this: tell me and I forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I will learn. I think this is very, very insightful, and this is something we should pay attention to when we teach.